And away we go. It is the BCJ Podcast, brought to you by the Holy Grail, right here on BearcatJournal.com. Go see our good friends at the Holy Grail. Saturday, 2 o'clock, Bearcats take on Georgia in Atlanta. They will have you taken care of. So head on down. They have great food. Love the pizza. Really enjoy the wings. And all kinds of good stuff, good burgers. But more importantly, full bar. And, of course, ice-cold Cincy Light on tap. And 50 cents from every Cincy Light that you purchase at the Grail goes back into the Impact Fund to support the athletes at the University of Cincinnati. Support those that not only support BCJ, but support Cincinnati athletics at the Holy Grail. Unless the Phillies are in town to watch Kyle Schwarber at Great American Ballpark this season. But how's it going, Dave?
Good. How are you?
I'm exhausted. I am too old to make it to Bloomington and back for an 8:30 Big Ten tip last night. But I'm afraid that we were in the second row, right off the floor, and there was nobody in the first row. So like all of Lamar Wilkinson's second half 3-pointers, you can see me sitting right behind the basket. So we had great seats.
Dad of the year.
And Drew's probably going to make me come back to every game after that.
Yeah, if they play like
that was. Whew. Penn State's not very good, but anytime you're up 40 plus the entire second half, you've had a pretty good night.
Yeah.
What's that like?
I don't know.
But yeah, I'm worn out. We got back about 1:30 or so, and had to be up at 6:30 to get Kelsey to school, and I've been going all day. I'm ready to fall over at the desk here right now, but I'll make it through.
There we go.
Josh Reed's #1 fan. Josh came over and said hello before the game last night, unprompted. He was getting ready to run back in after, the early shooting session. Came over and dapped me up and said hi. I love me some Josh Reed. What a good dude.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't a good night for Josh and the Nittany Lions, though. Anytime you have a guy go 10 of 15 from 3, score 44 points, probably going to be a rough night for the other team.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just not your night.
That one of the Indiana fans sitting next to us. At one point, I think Wilkerson had 35 and Penn State had 32, something like that. And he's like, I've never seen somebody outscore another team before. I was like, I have, sir.
I have.
But yeah, it was a good time. Good to see Drew. Good to see Josh. But yeah, I'm too old for this. What's up, Marcus? What's up, Toughness? Life good for you? I know you and Aaron were in deep wrestling discussion before the show.
Yeah, we got the Saturday, man. The last John Cena match. So should be fun. A fun watch. I didn't really follow wrestling too closely when Cena was like the star of everything, so I don't have this like big emotional attachment like so many other people do. I mean, I was more in the Attitude Era, and he came along in the Ruthless Aggression Era.
Yeah, I was Attitude Era, or I was more a little bit before that even.
Yeah.
Like the late 90s, early 2000s was my
that's Attitude for sure.
But yeah, I don't pay too much attention anymore. A little bit. It's easier now for me. Like I don't have time to sit down and watch it like you guys do, but I catch clips on the internet now.
Oh yeah, I mean you can.
Right.
I mean that is the great part about like Twitter is you can pretty much see all the important things if you really
if you really want to.
If you don't have the time to take in all the content.
So, what should we talk about, Dave? What do you want to get to today? We can go any different ways. There's a million different potential topics for this show.
Whatever you feel like.
I'm sure we'll get to most of them. You want to start with football or basketball? I'll leave it up to you.
I don't care. You pick.
You're like trying to ask a woman what they want to have for dinner. What do you want to do, football or basketball?
Football.
I don't care either.
I'm always going to pick football. But
okay, then pick football.
But what is the more relevant? But I'm also like, what is the more relevant, more time?
They're both irrelevant right now, Dave.
Yeah, that's true. that's true. That's true. I mean, I certainly said my piece last week. I will not be anywhere near as animated or as I said what I got that out, and we move on.
I mean, the big news of the day today, Christian Harrison in the transfer portal. I guess people didn't think he had a good year. I thought he had a pretty damn good year. I thought he was solid, multiple double-digit tackle games. Like, I don't know the lack of turnover thing. Yeah. I mean,
that's a team thing. I mean,
yeah, I think it's a pretty big loss, personally.
I would agree.
Especially a pretty big loss when you consider who's leaving this defense and who was, potentially able to come back to this defense. He's probably going to be one of your 2 or 3 better players defensively.
Yeah.
At the top of the roster. So that one stings. It sounds like some SEC interest probably at the heart of this matter, which not a lot you can do in this landscape. If Big Ten and SEC are lining up, you're gonna have a hard time hanging on. Yep. So can't blame the kid. A lot, I don't know that I look at Christian Harrison and think surefire draft pick, like longtime NFL guy. So the chance to make a bunch of money, go make your money.
Yeah.
It's not a great sign for the Liberty Bowl. You would assume guys going in the transfer portal, pretty good chance we're not going to see them in Memphis on January 2nd. I would not count on that. I think we get practice availability starting Monday of next week. So hopefully have a better idea of things then. I did see Keegan sent me a screenshot. Brendan Sorsby followed the transfer portal guy from a different network. That's usually not a great sign. I don't feel great about January 2nd, Dave.
Why? What's like in what way? What specific way?
What the team is going to look like. I mean,
you mean for a meaningless bowl game?
Yeah. You still like to go win. If you're going to play, you'd like to go win.
Sure. Yeah.
Now you're not even interested in talking about the bowl game. Like what?
I don't have any interest in either of these athletic outfits right now because they don't do anything to interest me.
Okay, well then I guess is this your last week on the show?
No, I mean I don't know who's going to be on the team. I don't care about a single bowl game outside of the playoff. I would love them to all go away. I think they're pointless exhibitions that the bowls are propped up on ESPN to make money, and people will watch it. I mean, that's why they're still here, because they still get good numbers. But if I'm in this situation, I am essentially using my 15 practices and the bowl game to play all players that I feel confident will be on the team next year and that I hope will become contributors.
Yeah,
that's the way I would look at it. So who's playing, who's not playing? I mean, yes, it matters, but I mean, I'm not stressing out about which starter, which older guy, or who's going to like. I would just be looking at it as a second spring, in a way to get my younger players some opportunity.
Yeah, I mean the difficult part about this is you're playing the one opponent that is going to care.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's the thing is, I've always joked about these bowl games is which team has the give a you know what meter on high. Navy's give a you know what meter is always on high. They don't have opt outs. I mean, I'm sure they could have a couple, just guys that are like, I'm tired of doing the military and football thing at the same time. But the vast majority of them know what they're getting into when they sign up for it.
Yeah. Are you allowed? Yeah. I don't even know if are they allowed to opt out? Like, is that even an option for them?
You could leave. I mean, you're not.
No, you can't. You're in the Navy.
No, they've had transfers. There's a running back from Army transferred to Arizona State this year.
Aren't you? Isn't there some kind? There's a commitment to the military.
I think it's different when you're in athletics. Like you don't have a commit. Well, I mean, I know they've had transfers leave.
I mean, he would have had to get some kind of discharge. Would be my assumption. Like I don't think you can. I mean, I guess you can do whatever you want, but I think there are ramifications in their situation if you are to not play in the bowl game. So you have until junior year. You can leave before then. So if you become an upperclassman, then you're locked into service, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be quite a challenge, which is why I couldn't understand why UC was favored for a little while.
Yeah.
They certainly are not now. Whoever manages those things caught on, and the line has moved greatly in the last 24, 48 hours.
Are they favored now?
Oh, yeah. They were 2.5 to start. UC was favored by 2.5.
Yeah.
And now Navy is favored by 3.5. So, yeah, I mean, it's a, as much as there are bad matchups for bowl games, I think this is probably one of those.
Yeah.
Just when you consider, the vibes around one program. The other program, I believe, as long as Blake Horvath plays their quarterback, their defense isn't anything special. I don't see UC necessarily, depending on who plays, having much trouble moving the ball or scoring. Hopefully, but their offense is. I mean, Blake Horvath is one of the top. I mean, I don't know the whole landscape of the G5 anymore, but probably a top 5 quarterback in the entire G5. I'm sure there's a lot of Power 4 programs that would like to have him as their quarterback.
Yeah.
So, if he plays, I don't love the Bearcats' chances.
I mean, the question is going to be, I'm not expecting Corleone.
Oh, no.
I'm not expecting.
He played the whole year hurt. Like he's not gonna take a month off and then go play in a bowl game when he's trying to recover from playing hurt all year.
And then I don't expect Golday. He's also been pretty dinged up. Towards the back end of the year, playing through a lot of bumps and bruises. Played through it, but. He's going to be getting ready for the combine, you would assume. Harrison's not going to be there. That's the middle of your defense going against the triple option.
Mm-hmm.
And then we still haven't heard about Sorsby, but like I said, he's starting to follow transfer portal guys, which usually is a pretty bad sign as you're getting closer and closer to the portal opening, which, as we know, the portal opens the day of the game.
Yeah.
We saw Cyrus Allen in uniform today.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good sign. Would you play Lichty? Or do you try Samaj Jones for?
No, I'm sure, and I probably would too. I mean, the guy's earned it, I think,
Yeah.
I don't, it's not like this is the Goodwill games or something where you just, we're out here for shits and giggles, but, quarterback, I think, is a little bit different of a thing. I mean, you're never going to convince those guys that winning isn't important. That you play the game, you go out and you try to win. Now, you might play different players, but the goal is still to try to win the game. And I feel like he should be the quarterback if you want to play both of them, I don't have any problem with that either. But I would feel good and well within reason to be playing Brady in this game.
Yeah. The portal stuff and keeping this team together, Dave, I think it's an interesting case study because we talked about this a lot last year with basketball, and that there's going to be a lot of 2-year windows, right? You're going to build it up, you're going to try to hold it together, and then you make your splash. And obviously last year, the way that roster was built for Wes Miller, that was their opportunity to make a splash, and they didn't. And it feels I'm getting similar vibes, unfortunately, with football as we're getting into this, because you had great leadership, right? They talked about a million times. Gavin Gerhardt's the best leader that they had been around in all their time coaching or being around football, whatever.
Yeah.
And Dante Corleone was a great leader. And you had these guys that I think were a very positive and vocal influence in the locker room. And guys wanted to stay. Guys wanted to be around that. Guys felt the brotherhood. They wanted to be part of that group. You didn't have a lot of turnover. You had good retention, especially from the guys that you wanted to keep. Now those guys are going to be moving on. And I don't know who that next in line, in succession really is. I mean, Tengistal, Jonathan Thompson.
Yeah, you hope guys emerge.
Sure.
But yeah, there's not necessarily a through line to just go, this player we know is going to replace the intangibles of this player. So we feel good about whether it's the offense, the defense, whether it's a specific group, a line group, But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of, in this new era, it is a lot of unknown from year to year. Like you said, maybe a 2-year window. I mean, I've even seen a little bit with, Arizona State. Everybody would think, myself included, things are going really well there. I think Kenny Dillingham is a really good coach. I think he did a really good job coaching this year, given the injuries to Sam Leavitt. But it seems very clear Sam Leavitt will not be at Arizona State next year. And they've already had, I know, an offensive lineman and I think a defensive back that were very, very important players for them. They've already said they're transferring.
Yeah.
And he's had some comments on the totality of the sport right now that, doesn't really paint a rosy picture, but it's going to be a thing everywhere, no matter how good or bad your season is, until they get some grasp. I won't use the G word. that everybody that in the industry likes to use. But until there's, it just feels like right now college football is all over the place. There's no direction, and there's no one even trying to kind of wrangle the cats, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean,
and there's just like things like the playoff, and this is, we don't need to get into that. I don't have any idea if you even want to talk about that, but you're gonna the ACC being a disaster is gonna be, but is the problem in all of this.
But yeah, screw the G5.
But yeah, people are gonna go, well, they're gonna make up some new rule that hurts the G5, where it's like, it's not their fault that the ACC has 17 teams and a half member, and they've got 2 teams in San Francisco, and your tiebreaker was stupid, and all of these. Like, how is that James Madison and Tulane's problem?
Right. They didn't. They just played.
They're gonna get dumped on. I mean, there's so many issues, and so it's very hard. And I say it somewhat jokingly, but somewhat seriously, of like, and I've said it going back over a year, I think, where we talked about it. I love the games. Football is my favorite sport to watch. I dislike every other aspect of college athletics right now other than the games themselves. And at some point, you're going to have people like me who consume it at a 10. They're going to start consuming it at a 7. And people that consume it at a 7 are going to start consuming it at a 4. And the game element of it might not really change, or might not change appreciably. Like, you're still going to get good ratings for the playoff no matter who's in. The Big 12 was bragging about their ratings for the conference championship game, and those may not change at all. But it's all of the other stuff around it that is just, like, everybody, I think, is just kind of getting a little sick and tired of, all of the other stuff besides just the games themselves.
I mean, the ultimate problem is, Dave, like I always, I'd always, get a kick out. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Get a kick out of like the old school, like, it's about the name on the front of the jersey, it's about the school, and like, it's sports. Like, let's not get out over our skis on that. But that's a whole lot different than essentially nobody cares anymore about any of that. It's where can I go get paid? Who's gonna take care of me? Who's gonna give me the most money? I guess, for some of them, who's gonna best prepare me or put me in a position to get to the NFL. But even that number's incredibly small. It's literally just about how many zeros are going in my bank account. And the problem with that is, if you don't have great culture around your program, the minute that there's a bump in the road, everything goes to shit, because people just go into self-preservation because they don't care about the other stuff that they used to care about.
Your season starts off poorly, and you go, okay, my coach might get fired, he might not get fired. I'm gonna continue to do what I need to do so that when I enter the portal, I can still get similar or more than I've gotten here, and that I'm just protecting myself, that I don't do something stupid to where if I do enter the portal and all these schools are calling my former coach or whoever, and they're like, terrible dude, like as soon as we lost like 2 games in a row, he was awful, he was late, he wouldn't show. Like, that's the only thing that can really sabotage you in these situations, because it certainly doesn't seem to matter how, I mean, yes, you still have to play well, but it certainly doesn't matter how your team did or what your contributions to your team were, because we all know that college athletics and college coaches are the biggest Father Flanagans in the world, in the sense of that, that was a problem there, but it won't be a problem here.
Yeah.
he might have done that there, but I know how to handle that, and everything will be fine here. So, let's get him type situation. So,
or that was a problem here before, but it's not a problem here now.
Right. I just think it's, we joke about it at Higher Ground, and we follow the team as close or more than really anybody. And we're like, who are these guys? So, like, I always think of my mom and aunt. That my mom follows Bearcat Journal. I mean, she listens to every one of our podcasts, and they're pretty tapped in fan wise. I bet they couldn't name more than 10 or 15 players on the football team this year. Like sitting down
at the end of the season, yeah,
right. Sitting down, just thinking like, okay, name me who are the 11 starters on offense. Like, how many do I think they could really name? And that's not an indictment on them as fans. I think that's just where we are in the nature of all of this. And
yeah,
I was always for player agency, but not at the expense of the greater good. And I think we've now gone overboard in all of that.
It was over here, and now it's over there.
Right. You were too far, archaic, and which the funny part about that is for anybody that follows this whole CSC thing and that whole ordeal, that is to pull it back. Like, a lot of the things in there is to pull it back to the way it was 20 years ago, where a coach could practically be like, you want to transfer? Okay, great. But you're not transferring to this list of schools. Right. So, like, I don't think a lot of people realize that there's a lot of measures inside of that bill, or whatever they're even calling it at this point, that would erase a lot of what has happened over the last few years. But yeah, I mean, I just think it went from no player agency, which I did not think was right, to now unlimited player agency, where I actually then, as hard as it is to say I feel bad for coaches, I do, in that sense, I do kind of feel bad for coaches, because this is not what I think anyone thought in their mind's eye when we were talking about all this stuff a few years ago. It's gone too far to the other direction, but there's really nothing or no one in place to kind of rein it back in a little bit.
It was good.
No, if you have to try to get the government involved, then you're not equipped to handle the situation, is basically what I'm going to say.
Well, it went from the schools had all the cards and the players had none to, do the schools have any cards now, Dave?
Right. I don't think so. I mean, Georgia's trying to sue one of their players who transferred to Missouri this year, because apparently he had a buyout in his NIL deal.
Yeah.
But it didn't keep him from transferring to Missouri, because he probably thought, in his representation probably told him, like, just transfer. We'll, if they sue, we'll litigate it, and we'll countersue and say that you can't do, like, the buyout is no, I don't know what the details are exactly, but he had a buyout and they want their money back, which I totally understand.
Of course they do. Like, I think you're going to see a lot of that this year, because I think this is probably the first year that with rev share that there were legitimate contracts, like with the schools.
Yeah.
That, these guys want to get the best deal possible. So they signed 2-year deals, and now they're okay. Well, I want out. Okay. Well, there's $1 million buyout. Like, sorry.
It sucks, because, like, years ago, a player like Christian Harrison, I'd have been like much more, oh man, that's terrible. That's such a big blow. And today I was just kind of yeah, okay. He won't be the last, and they'll bring in some new guys, and we'll talk about them, and they'll tell us how great they're going to be and why they love them. And then, we'll just do this whole thing all over again.
Yeah. It's kind of disheartening, because there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. other than the players hold all the cards and they decide like how it's going to be. And from a UC front, like the way that they were able to combat that over the past couple of years is I do think they had good stewardship of the program. I do think they had guys that actually genuinely cared about being here. And that permeates through the other guys when you have guys at the top of your roster or in leadership, like legitimate leadership positions that are able to, I don't want to say sell, but able to relay that to people that are coming in. Like I do think these guys, Dave, at their core are looking for that. They're looking for a place where there's good, the teammate, the guys on the team get along and everything has some positive synergy to it. Like I think there is something to that. Like when they're going through the transfer process and the money's similar, right?
Yeah.
Like
right.
There are going to be differentiators within the level that you're being offered to play.
Yeah.
Unless there's just this school's offering $250,000 more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Like, okay, then maybe I don't care about the other stuff. But that's not generally how it works. You're going to have a couple schools that are all going to be in the same ballpark, and then you have to pick. The problem now is, Dave, like Gavin's gone, Dante's gone. You could probably throw Dingle into that mix. Who are the next guys behind that?
Mm-hmm.
You could probably throw a Tengastal in there because he's been around for a while, like I said. A Jonathan Thompson. But like I think leading into this year, the past 2 years or so where we've talked about, they've really done a good job retaining who they've wanted to retain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that's going to be the case.
That's why we were so positive, or at least not so, I shouldn't say so positive, but thought there was the possibility for a really nice season was because you were facing, so many teams go through these big, massive sea changes. And while UC brought in a quality number of transfers that I feel like they did a really good job identifying. A lot of the guys they brought in were contributors. But at some of the biggest, most important spots, it was a continuation. And I do think that, I hate the term culture. It's been so overused. But I do think
that's the problem. It's been run into the ground by people that actually didn't give a shit about culture.
No, I do think coming into the season that the program has had a good culture. And I think it still does. I'm not saying that went away, but, you got the sense that players really did like playing for Coach Satterfield. They had a great relationship with Nico, who they spend probably as much or more time with him and his team than they do with the actual coaches. But yeah, I mean, it felt like a very tight-knit group. Now, when you have the same situation happen at the end of this year that happened at the end of last year, and you know that some of your better and more veteran guys aren't going to be around next year, I'm not saying it's like rats off the Titanic, but there is more of a sense of self-preservation, and I need to look around and see if this is still, this was a great option for me 12 months ago or 24 months ago. Is it still the best option for me? And that's life. That's work. I mean, that's what we're saying. That's what we're saying these guys are doing. I mean, they're getting paid. They're looking at salaries. They're looking at opportunity. They're looking at who's coming to them. I mean, I'm never going to fault them for that. This is not their fault. It's everybody else's fault around them who didn't think that this is what was going to happen.
Right. And I think my bigger point on this being like, there's going to be a reset of leadership with so many of these guys leaving. And that takes time. That is never, very rarely ever, is it just those guys are gone. And the day that they transition out, there's a structured, detailed like hierarchy that's already in place. That has to develop. And with these decisions in the timeline that you have to do them now, your leadership structure is gone because they're graduating, they're leaving. You don't have a leadership structure in place because that's organic. That has to grow internally. So now, like, when you look at like when these transfer portal visits start happening in the beginning of January, one of the big things was our guys sit down with all these the guys that are coming in, and we have a great leadership group of guys that have been here for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and we trust them explicitly.
Kind of vet them, and we've talked to I've talked to some of the at least one of the players that was part of that, and I'm sure you've talked to more. And they're not the final say, but they certainly give an idea, especially on like the I don't want to use the word bad because it doesn't mean the kid is or the guy is a bad person, but like if Dante and Gavin are eating with the dude and they just are like, this guy he just won't fit.
He's on his phone all the time, or like
he's just not gonna fit. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy, but he's just not gonna fit with what we're about. Yeah, who are those guys now that are in charge of that? And do they have the stock and the skin in the game to you might see them as a leader of the team, but are they in a good position for themselves to feel confident and say this is yes on this guy, no on this guy type of situation?
Yeah. So, and I think that comes into play with like the guys making their decision if they're going to stay or not. Like, okay, maybe the money is going to be a little bit less at Cincinnati, but maybe it's not significantly less. Maybe it's, a number that I can handle, a number that doesn't jump off the page. And like, Jake Golday last year probably could have jumped in the portal and gotten gobs of money after what he showed his first year at Cincinnati. And I know he probably left some money on the table, but he was bought in. He believed in where they were going, what the vision was. What's up, Ron? We'll get to you. I love Ron. Ron just comes in and starts firing questions. So that is like the main, like, what are we looking at and how this bowl game plays out? What do we learn from who's staying, who's going? What are they ready for when the portal opens? Do they have that leadership group ready? Just snap of a finger. Okay, this is the next group of guys. We trust them, implicitly. They're gonna be able to give us the honest feedback. They're gonna be able to tell us whether this person is right or wrong for the culture. Let's face it, Dave, the guys that are leaving now were almost the end of that culture that was here before Satterfield got here. That championship culture. Mm-hmm. I think Jonathan Thompson was around right at the end of that. There's not many guys that experience those locker rooms, what that was like. That's now kind of exited out. It's kind of washed itself from the program. I think they leaned on that. They relied on that with guys like Gavin, with guys like Dante that maybe they weren't a big part of it, but they touched it. They understood it.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know what this next 6 weeks is going to hold, man. No, I really don't.
Neither do I. It'll be every day. I'm sure we'll bring something new. There'll be, I would fully anticipate several more players transferring out, just because that's just not because it's an indictment on anybody.
Well, but the question is not players transferring out. It's who did you want to keep? that's transferring out.
Yes, right.
I think there's going to be more. We haven't talked about many of them. Like, that was one of the things that we could assure people going through the last 2 cycles, the last 2 years. They didn't lose a whole lot of guys that they wanted to keep. Were there a couple? Yeah. There's always going to be a couple.
Yeah, I mean, last year I think they would have liked to have kept Miles. He wanted a bigger role or 2. I don't think he got that. Maybe he feels like he did.
He did this year, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, they're, and I don't even know who, outside of a few potential names. We have way less, I feel like, not assurance, but I don't think there's, I'll just say I'm not going to be surprised by anything.
Yeah.
Because we haven't really been told, like, these are, we feel very good about this unit of guys that we want to keep and them staying.
I have a pretty good idea of who not to expect back, because there was, you're probably not going to be a part of the plans going forward, or I want a bigger role, that the player wants a bigger role that's probably not going to be there. Like, I've got a list of those guys, but I think there's going to be a lot more on the other side of, no, they would like to have kept that guy.
Mm-hmm.
No, they would like to have, they would like for him to have stayed because they had visions of that person being a part. It feels like there's going to be more of those than we've seen the past 2 years. And that's another, not just for the stuff we've been talking about, but it's why it hurts losing those final 4 games, because all the momentum feels like it was lost. You get to 8 or 9 wins, all of a sudden, okay, the momentum feels like it's still rolling downhill. Now it feels like, the momentum kind of found a plateau, and the ball is just kind of sitting there. And while it's not necessarily negative momentum, there's also not the positive momentum maybe that it felt like was happening behind the scenes, where everybody kind of felt like, hey, we weren't off by much last year. Like, we were in a better spot than we were the first year in the Big 12. We let a couple things get away from us that we probably shouldn't have, but we feel momentum coming into 2025. That feels like it's stalled. And when that momentum stalls, it's, we talked about this a little bit on the BBP the other night, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Like, people act like this is bottomed out. It is not bottomed out.
No.
The problem is basketball, we'll see what happens over the next couple months. But the problem is it feels like it's stalled at average, right? Like, this is average to slightly above average football team.
I think when you go through what they went through at the end of last year, in year 2, not that you're explaining it away, but I think it's easier to not rationalize it. That's not even the right word. But I think it's just easier in general to convince guys that, yes, that happened, but we're still going in the right direction because we have this core group returning, and we feel like we can count on them to be leaders and to take what we did do positively before the end of the year and build off of that.
Yeah.
When kind of the circumstances are different, but kind of the same thing happened. I feel like it's just a lot harder to convince guys a second time around that we're still going in the right direction. Yes, the win total is more, and we can get into that because, like, I'm not great at math, but yes, 3, 5, 7. Doesn't that mean then 8 is the bare minimum next year? Yeah. If you're going to play that game with me, and we're not going to make any changes because we won 2 more games, I'm not a part of this. They won 2 more games than they won the year before. If we're just going to play that game, then you're not changing anything as of today, then 8 is the bare minimum.
Yeah.
So if these guys aren't dumb. They see what's going on. They see other high-level play. Like, if Sorsby does transfer, to me, that would, if I'm a younger guy, that's like, oh, man, our quarterback, who we know had interest from other schools, maybe one whose sweatshirt I'm wearing right now, he decided to come back, and now he's going to go. Maybe I need to, like, check where I'm at in this situation. It's very hard to do the same thing 2 years in a row and think that we're just going to keep building like we were able to build or try to build off of the year prior, off of 24. I think it's a different dynamic, and it's a much harder dynamic. And
it's also a much harder dynamic than if you were 9-3 and you say, hey, like, we went from 3 to 5 to 9.
Yeah.
And you know, we were playing for a spot in Dallas in the final week of the season, and we had momentum, and, you know, we won 2 out of the last 4. Maybe we didn't beat Utah. Maybe we didn't beat BYU or Arizona, pick one, whatever. But, like, man, you know, we were 5-0 in the conference, and we finished 7-2 in the conference. And, like, I think we're cooking a little bit. Like, I think we're right there. We're right on the cusp of being a championship team. To, let's be honest, the way it ended, you finished with a bunch of teams that felt like they didn't have a good season. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, they had to scrap and battle and scratch and claw to get to 5-4 in the conference. Not they were sitting at 5-0 and then the bottom fell out. And, like, you know, I get it. I've heard a bunch, like, the 4 best teams they played were the last 4 games of the season. Oh, okay. Okay. I probably agree. But you're allowed to win one or 2 of those games.
It's not factually incorrect. Just like 3 to 5 to 7 is an improvement. But, like, if that's the angle we're taking, is that we didn't get lucky in the way that the games were scheduled, and that people would feel differently if the 4 best teams we played were sprinkled in to various points of the season, and they still went 7-5. I mean, sure, might the feelings be slightly different? Of course. Anytime you change expectations like they did in the middle of the season, and then fall on your face and lose 4 in a row, of course that's going to feel different than if you just had a ho-hum, win 2 here, lose 1 here, win 1 here, lose 2 here. Like, yes, of course. But that is arguably the most pathetic excuse for not having a good season that I can think of.
Yeah.
Like, you want me to change my opinion and reverse everything that I said last week just because of the way that the games fell on the schedule? No. Like,
the problem is
you're paying players hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. Coaches are getting paid exorbitant amounts of money. Don't give me this. Oh, well, if the games were set up differently, everybody would feel different. I don't care. Like, go figure out ways to win games.
The other problem is if you played well, you could have won 3 of those games.
Yeah, you weren't.
But you didn't play. Like, look, Utah, they were going to get their ass kicked. We have thrown that one out for a while.
I thought that in August.
Right. Utah, they were going to get their ass kicked. The other 3, if you play reasonably well, you could have won any of those games, if not all of those games.
It wasn't like a stretch of, you know, Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. You didn't have that on the schedule. Like, let's calm down a little bit with that.
Agreed. I've heard it a bunch. Like, I get where those people are coming from when they look at it, because it is, I'd say, factual. I'd say those were the 4 best teams they played all year.
Oh,
but
I don't think there's any debate.
But
here's my but. You were one of those, you know what, teams going into that 4-game stretch.
Right. And the other thing, Dave, is if you would have played as well as you did earlier in the season, in terms of not turning the ball over, converting in the red zone, making your field goals, winning field position at a better rate, like all of those things would have put you in better position to win any of those last 3 games. Yeah. And you didn't do any of those things well. So that takes away that entire, like, well, the 4 best teams. Yeah, you had a chance on 3 of them where if you played clean football, you win.
It wasn't like we played the best football that we played all year, and those teams
we lost.
They were just awesome, and we just lost.
Right. I think everybody can live with that. Like, I think everybody can live with, hey, like, played clean, moved the ball, like, maybe the other team made some stops in the red zone that played out at the end of the game, didn't turn it over. We won the turnover battle, whatever it may be. We played okay and we lost. Shit happens. Like, that's when you're playing in good leagues against good teams, you can play well and lose.
Yep.
But I don't think any of us look at those last 3 games and thought, guys played pretty well and just, couldn't get it across the finish line.
No.
So that's where I think that kind of goes out the window.
Yeah, we're in lockstep on that.
And you lose momentum. And now people are looking around the room going, am I going to come back and do this again next year?
Hey, guess what? A lot of the fans are having the same sentiment.
It's a rough spot. But, Dave, everybody in that building wanted to be in the Big 12, right? Everybody in that building basically said, if we don't, it's survive or die. It's get into this league and continue on an upward trajectory or get left behind.
Absolutely.
Well, it's about more than just the financial side of it. Because guess what? You're not going to be making the type of money you thought you were going to be making if the teams aren't any good. Yeah, the TV money might be there, but all the other stuff, ticket sales, concessions, merch, you name it. All those other avenues of revenue, donations, all those other avenues to revenue are going to dry up if you can't realistically put yourself in a conversation for the run. Come on, man. They had a whole team full of Big 12 players. I'm not giving anybody that excuse this year. I gave it to them in year 1. I said they didn't have enough of them in year 2. It's bullshit, Ron. I'm sorry. It's bullshit. If you watch them play Arizona, BYU, and TCU, Cincinnati had more than enough players to be competitive with those teams. That's an excuse. That's not a reason. And it's a bullshit excuse because there was more than enough guys that are Big 12 level football players that were on this team. If not, they would have been 2-7 in the league again, not 5-0 with a chance to earn their way to Dallas.
I mean,
there was plenty of Big 12 football players on this roster.
I don't know the depth of every other team, but I think there's a case to be made that
maybe they weren't deep enough. Sure.
No, I'm not going to argue that, but I'm just saying, just like on the top end of it all. There's a good case that they get 3 guys potentially drafted in the top 100 picks, which is essentially the first 3 rounds. If that happens, I'll try to go back and look, and it wouldn't stun me if they're the only school that happens for in the Big 12. I know Utah is going to get 2 for sure in the first early second, and so maybe they get 1 other guy or 2 other guys, but no one looked at the games. Here's the best way that I'll just put it. No one looked at the games against Arizona and BYU and watching those games unfold. No one sat there and was like, we just don't have Big 12 level guys. The games were close enough. The games were competitive enough that you can't say it's because the players were not good enough to win those games. Maybe they weren't good enough because they made mistakes that the other guys didn't. But so Ronnie, I don't think they're coming knocking at your door, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, they're not coming.
Why are you listening to us talk about it if you're that much out on,
I mean, look, I don't know with Dante what this is going to look like because of the injury and he's undersized, but I would Royer and Golday. I'd be pretty surprised if they weren't day 2 selections.
Yeah.
Or at least early day 3.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't look at those situations and felt like we did in year 1 and year 2. It was
look at Arizona. Look at Arizona and BYU. They played like crap in both of those games and had the ball with a chance to win at the end in both of those games without playing well. If that's not having Big 12 talent, then nobody had, like, only Texas Tech and Utah had Big 12 talent. Those are the only 2 teams that had it.
No, I mean, I'm trying to be a certain way in what I'm saying, because you and I had a conversation at Higher Ground where I made a statement about what I thought about the roster versus the team. And I think it kind of played out the way I thought. But, in all transparency, they also, I wanted to, in our preseason pick'ems thing, I said 6-6 just because I didn't.
You thought more 5-7.
I thought more 5-7. So they exceeded my expectations by 2 games.
Yeah.
But expectations also change when you're 7-1.
Right.
So,
right.
You can't.
But Ron, here's the thing. We are not some of these other places that talk about sports in this town. You're going to have to bring it. If you're going to get mad and you're just going to throw crap against the wall, you're going to have to bring it because we're going to talk about it and we're going to be fair about it. Everybody is frustrated. Believe me. If you didn't hear what I said last week, I mean, it's hard to not pull punches a little bit, but yeah, because my problem just is that, yes, the sport is way different than it was even 4 years ago, but we know what is possible here. Yeah.
We're seeing what is possible all over the country. Like, everybody that said, oh, the portal and NIL, it's just going to make all the good teams that much better. No, it's not. I think I was listening to something that 20 schools got a 5-star in this signing class. Yeah, that's not how it used to be.
No.
We're having Vanderbilt and Virginia and any number of teams that have, for their history, never done anything. Like, I look this stuff up all the time because I'm a little bit of a sicko, but, like, there are schools in the SEC, I think South Carolina might be one of them, that have, like, 1 10 or more win season in their entire existence. UC has
Iowa State.
UC has 7 or 8 10+ win seasons in the last 20 years. It's totally, and that I think is where my biggest frustration lies in all of this, and I don't even know if I mentioned it last week, is that this is not the Little Sisters of the Poor anymore can't compete with the big boys. But you got to want to do it. From the top down, you got to want to do it. And whether it was the previous administration, I don't know exactly how we want to categorize air quotes, got them into the Big 12. I think they got into the Big 12 because there was so much movement all over the place that
of the teams available, they had the most momentum.
Yes. Okay, but now you're there. Is this good enough? Because to me, it's not. When I'm watching, it's not good enough to me because it's not like I'm watching every other school that's in a somewhat similar situation also be in the same situation. I'm seeing other schools that have had way more money at their disposal for decades, never do anything with it, and then snap their fingers and all of a sudden they're doing something with it immediately. That's my biggest problem.
Yeah.
Is that a school like Vandy, who, yes, has been in the SEC, and they have certainly benefited from that. A school like Indiana has been in the Big Ten, and they have certainly benefited from that. Virginia, they're just snapping their fingers and decided they want to be good. And holy shit, look, they're good. So it's telling me that it's possible. Is it going to be harder here? Yes, it's always been harder here. It's never not going to be harder here.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible. If you're totally committed, if you have top-down alignment of what truly needs to be done to compete at that level. It's a mindset, it's a decision. We're either going to do this or we're not. You know? Right now, it feels like status quo is fine. And it might be for them. I don't think it is for the majority of the fan base.
It just can't feel stale. And I think right now things feel stale.
Like if you finish the year with 4 straight, yes, of course, very much so. If you finish the year with 4 straight losses and a defense that, did not hold up their end of the deal in that stretch and for a lot of parts of the season. I mean, I'm so sick of the bend but don't break thing. Like that's not a strategy, by the way. Like what's the thing Reds fans like to say? Hope is not a strategy. Like that's not a strategy of winning football. And we're not going to change anything about the defense. So then I'm just supposed to assume you're going to sell me on that we're not going to change anything about the defense. We're going to take out arguably our 3 best players at each level, Dante Corleone, Jake Golday, Christian Harrison. We're going to take them out. We're not going to change anything about the defense, and it's going to be better next year? That's what you're trying to sell me? As of December 10th, that's what you're trying to sell me on.
Yeah. I mean, I think the messaging is going to be we're going to play a more aggressive version.
What messaging? There's been no message. The season's been over.
We haven't had any press conference. Like the head coach isn't just going to fucking Donald Trump it and get on True Social and go on. We haven't heard from the head. My guess is the messaging will be we're going to be more aggressive defensively. But to your point, I'll believe it when I see it. You knew after last year.
Every other press conference of a new coach, or we're going to be multiple. We're going to play aggressive. I mean, I'm still waiting for the first coach to be like, we're going to play the same defense every play, no matter what the offense is doing. We're going to play on our heels. We're going to back up as soon as the ball is snapped. Like, I'm still waiting for that press conference. It's always we're going to be multiple. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to play on the other side of the line of scrimmage. And I'm like, great. So they're like every other press conference.
I mean, look, guys, the advancing the wins from 3 to 5 to 7 is progress. They've advanced the wins in the conference. They've beaten the level of team. They've increased the level of program that they have beaten in conference. It is not that 3, 5, 7 is not progress. It's that at 7, with what is leaving, it's very hard to find 8 or 9 at this point.
My view of it is, yes, 3, 5, 7 is progress, but
this was the year.
With the total negligent thought, comment, anything about 357 is progress, but we also put ourselves in a position to exceed that.
Right.
And we didn't. Like, there's been no conversation along that. It's just stopped at we won more games than last year. Yeah. You sure did.
But that's, I still see it a little bit differently, Dave. I see it as last year, there was, okay, we got to 5. We had the bad stretch at the end, but we're bringing back our quarterback, and we're bringing back a top 100 defensive tackle, and we're bringing back a stud tight end that, some people are projecting as a first-round pick, and we're bringing back this freak that we found at, FCS at linebacker that splashed on the scene and became an all-conference guy. Like, there were things from last year to this year that sold progress.
Yeah.
The question, and why I'd say things are right now stale, what is, and I think we all can be honest with each other here. I think all smart money would be on Brendan Sorsby entering the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Do I know that he's entering the transfer portal? No. Do I think there's a 0% chance he returns to Cincinnati? No, I think there's a chance he returns to Cincinnati. But if I had to wager more than $5 on it, more than $1 on it, I would bet that he probably ends up in the transfer portal. That's what the signs point to. So what are you selling that instills hope in progress next year? That's what feels stale to me.
Right.
Forget all the other shit. Forget how last year ended.
Right.
Forget all of that. I'm talking about going into 2026 as we get done with the Navy game and we fast forward to January 3rd and we say, okay, let's take a look ahead at what 2026 is going to look like. What am I feeling good about when we do that?
Say you're a fence-sitting season ticket holder. What is being said to make you think that we were cool with this amount of progress? Then I have to expect more next year, right?
Right.
Can't backslide.
Right.
You're telling me this was progress, and I agree to some extent that it certainly was. I thought they played better. They looked like a different team. They played better. They didn't win as many games as I thought that they could. They won more than I thought they would, but they didn't win as many games as I thought they could once I actually saw what they were. So how are you? Don't get me started on renewals. I got a whole story on that. But how are you massaging this to me that my quarterback, let's just say he's not part of the equation. The quarterback is left. The tight end is left. The D tackle is left. The linebacker is left. The safety is left. And then any other players that were contributors that were seniors, they're all gone. Blah, blah, blah. How are you really realistically telling me that we are going to win 8 games next year?
Right. What is the sell? Forget hope. What is the sales pitch? There was a sales pitch after last year. There was an absolute sales pitch.
And it made total sense. Like what they presented made sense. It's what, I don't see it. And then on top of that, what we just talked about we lost the last 4 games of the season and nothing is changing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
that specific element to me is probably not, and believe me, I'm in a situation right now, I am certainly not in favor of people losing their jobs.
Be a bad look for you to be on here calling for people to lose their job.
Definitely not. But you want my money, but it just screams content. It screams we're fine with this. I mean, my other school paid their defensive coordinator $4.3 million to go away. and they're on the verge of hiring arguably one of the top 2 or 3 defensive coordinators in the country to replace him. I'm not saying UC has that money or should have that money to do that. They don't. But you really cannot do what you did and then just go, yeah, we're totally cool with this. And think that people are going to also be totally cool with this.
Well, the other thing that goes to what I'm talking about, Dave, is you had Brendan Sorsby coming back, and in this hypothetical, he's not coming back, right? You had Brendan Sorsby coming back. You had a running back that had run for 1,000 yards in the Big Ten. You had a wide receiver coming from Texas A&M. Now, we don't know what the transfer portal haul this year is going to look like.
No.
Maybe they go out and they do a good job in the transfer portal, and then that gives us something to look at and say, okay, well, I can see where they had a bunch of extra money that they didn't have last year because they did spend a lot of money on retention. They're not going to spend nearly as much on retention this year because they don't have the big name to retain. But okay, maybe there's some guys to hang your hat on. But you can look at the offense last year and go, okay, I can see where this offense is going to score.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have Sorsby, can you look at this offense and say we feel like this is going to be a 30-point per game offense?
It wasn't this year.
What'd they end up at?
I don't know what the I'll look it up while you're chatting, but
so then the message would be, well, we're gonna have to be a defense that holds teams to 24 points. And I don't think there's gonna be any faith in that when you lose your best guys, especially straight up the heart of your defense. And we don't know at this point what is replacing them.
31.8.
So they did get to 31, Dave.
They did.
You got what you asked for.
Well, buoyed by one. I mean, you can't not count it, but it certainly wasn't 30 in Big 12 play. We'll just say that. But
no. It was for 5 games. It was for 5 games. It was not for 4.
Yeah, got to 31.8. So my 30 points a game thing. And see, they had 2 more wins. So,
But look,
correlation.
Foundation manufacturing, every school has rebuild years. What do you expect the message from the coach to be? That you're not having a rebuilding year in year 4.
Yeah, this is not year 2. Last year was the rebuild year. Then you had a better year, and now you can't then go backwards in year 4.
That's it's cyclical, like I said. And in a situation like UC's in, there probably are going to be periods of 2 and 3 year builds but the problem is it is a product and you have to sell that product to your fans. And when we're talking about what is going to be sold to the fans for next year, make the sales pitch. Foundational manufacturing. What is your sales pitch that this team is still on the upward trajectory after being 5-0 in the conference, 7-1 overall, finishing 7-5? You're going to play a military academy in a bowl game where you're going to have a bunch of your guys not there, and they're going to have all their guys there. What's the sales pitch? You got to come up with it because that's your job. Your job is to sell the product to your consumers.
Can't wait to hear what it is.
If we had a bad product here at Bearcat Journal, what would I have to sell? We have the best product in the market. I have invested heavily into the infrastructure of Bearcat Journal.
Are you trying to say that you have committed all available resources to
Bearcat Journal?
Would you like to be an athletic director?
But you're missing the point. Foundational manufacturing, they got better in year 2, in year 3, in year 4, in year 5. The arrow was continue to point up because you had Desmond Ritter and Sauce Gardner and Alec Pierce and Trey Tucker and Tyler Scott and Lenny Taylor and Josh Wiley, and like the arrow was pointed up.
Drew's comment was great. I'm too short to double the post. Most of us.
Yeah, we're not.
Aaron's like the tallest guy at like 6'3". We are not a good basketball team.
Aaron is not 6'3". There's no chance Aaron is 6'3".
I'm 6 foot on a good day.
6 foot? Oh, okay. Well, yeah. All right.
Aaron is not. I think Austin's the biggest guy. Keegan's probably 6 foot, 6'1".
Yeah.
Brent's taller than me.
But it wasn't pointing up. That's why he left after year 6. You're making a terrible fucking argument here. Foundation manufacturing. I mean, I'm not going to purchase your product. Whatever you're manufacturing, I'm out on. You're doing a terrible sales job. Terrible.
And I'm actually, looking back, they went to the college football playoff. I actually kind of don't give a shit what happened after that.
Right?
I mean, 2021 was the funnest football year of my life. I think I went to...
And 2020 wasn't bad. 2020, They almost beat Georgia in the Peach Bowl.
I went to the college football playoff in the Super Bowl. Like, I'm not real upset.
They beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame.
That the year after they had 9 guys drafted, that they weren't as good in the American.
There was the point being, that's where this year falling short hurts. There wasn't a payoff. If next year is a rebuilding year, what was the payoff? 7-5 in the Liberty Bowl against Navy? Like, are you listening to yourself? And this is a great point. Don't let Brent near the program. We get in trouble with all the sports betting he does. Not wrong. All right, we got to move on. We have to
talk about something that's even in worse shape somehow. We spent an hour talking about how bleak things are for the football program. Well, that's 6 months from now. We're talking about how bleak things are from the basketball program in 3 days when they play Georgia.
Yeah. We're going to timestamp. That timestamp brought to you by Turtles Brew. 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free. It's 6% ABV. It's a bourbon-infused sweet tea. They have cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange vanilla, strawberry mint, lemonade tea. You can find it in over 50 locations in Greater Cincinnati, more than 100 around the state of Ohio. All you got to do is go to turtlesbrew.com for more information and the location nearest you. Remember, a portion of the proceeds go to Save the Sea Turtles. And that brings us to college basketball talk, Dave. That college basketball talk is brought to you by Home Field Apparel. Got a couple Christmas gifts on the way for the loved ones in my family. And they love it. It's great stuff. We get to it every year. Home Field is on the Christmas wish list. And all you got to do, go to homefieldapparel.com. They have the best collection of vintage Cincinnati logos and you name it. Anything you could want, they've got it. Jackets, quarter zips, hoodies. There you see some of the, if you're watching on video, the brand new vintage logo knit sweater, which is really sweet. But any kind of UC apparel you're looking for with the old Cincinnati logos and markings, it's in there. Some of my favorite t-shirts, my 2 favorite hoodies. Love the joggers. Love everything that they do. And all you got to do, go to homefieldapparel.com and search Cincinnati. Bearcats lose another Crosstown Shootout, Dave.
Stunning.
The winless streak at the Cintas Center is still...
Can buy beer?
Yeah, it can buy beer. No, it can rent a car. Dave. 2001, 25. It's got one more year before it can rent a car. So the next time they go to Centos Center, the losing streak at Centos will be able to rent a car without extra fees. They for the most part were okay in this game, but you have that stretch to start the second half where you just look terrible and you let X get up by 13. You've got to claw all the way back. You do that. You go up by 1, a little under 3 minutes left, and then X dominates down the stretch. Trey Carroll goes for 30. X shoots 67% or whatever it was from 2. I don't really think we need to rehash a whole lot about that, but what it does, it sets up a lot of doubt. I mean, more doubt than I can remember since Mick Cronin's first year, maybe his second year.
I mean, I said in the offseason, I said, wake me up in January. I mean, put me to bed now. Don't wake me up.
Right.
Like, I have a lot of thoughts as usual, but like, I just don't. I don't think Wes can coach, man. I've seen him for 5 years. I don't. We talked about this the other day. I'm more of a football guy. You're the basketball guy. Like, I understand football X's and O's way more than I do basketball. But I played basketball. I grew up on UC basketball. I know enough. I know what the dribble drive offense is. I know what the flex is. I know what motion. Like, I know enough to watch it and go, I don't know what they're doing offensively.
Yeah. It gets stale a lot. Like, there are times, like in that run when they cut it from 13 to take the lead, there were times in there that it looked cohesive. It looked coherent. But the problem is that happens for 10 minutes a game, 5 minutes a game, 10 minutes a game. And then for 30 minutes a game, you got Robbie Hummel going, I'm not sure what they're trying to accomplish. The ball's never getting inside the three-point line. They're not moving the defense. It's similar, different cast, but similar things to what we talked about last year. The ball sticks a little bit. It doesn't pop. The defense is able to recover. Like, you never really feel like you've got the opponent in scramble mode. Yeah. You never, it feels like guys are getting open shots, but it's probably because the defense wants that guy to have, like, it wasn't an accident that Baba Miller was wide open from 3 4 times. They baited him into taking 4 3-point shots, and he went 0 for 4.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't feel like there's the cohesion. Nick, piss off, dude. I'm so sick of
what? I don't know what happened.
He just loves taking shots and comes in and, like, I'm done with Nick. I'm done with Nick. It just doesn't feel like there's sustained connectivity. And that's offense and defense. Like, the defense, yeah, you did a good job running X off the 3-point line, but then X said, okay, we're going to take advantage, and we're going to have one guy just straight line drive at you, score, bucket, whatever. Like, the stuff after the game, the comments after the game, we talked about it in the aftermath. You haven't worked on double teaming? Like, you started in June.
There's just certain things that, regardless, like, it's the Herm Edwards joke about Twitter don't hit send. It's like, even if you're thinking that, it serves you no purpose to say something like that. Yeah. Or to say that we're actually a good team. That's not exactly what he said. But, there's these thoughts that I have don't necessarily run congruent with each other, but they've jumped in my head over the last several days, weeks, whatever. What kind of an indictment is it that the best they've looked is when they rolled the balls out and there was no scouting involved and they played basically pickup ball against Michigan? And now that structure is involved and scouting is involved and coaching is involved and adjustments are involved, they don't look anything like the team that played against Michigan. What does that say? What does that say?
Right.
What does it say that last year, the thing that bothered me the most about the team was that I felt there was an inherent lack of toughness. The entire roster outside of one guy is different. And they have the same lack of toughness. Who does that point to?
Yeah. I mean, I think there are much tougher guys on this team than there were on
tough
last
enough
year's
to
team.
stop Xavier from shooting 70-something% from two.
Right.
Like we've talked about this so much. Toughness is not throwing a guy into the basket support.
No.
Toughness is not giving up a 12-2 run to start the second half when you actually played you did all the things that have typically killed UC in this game at Xavier. You didn't do any of them in the first half.
No.
And yet
you didn't get down big. You maintained, you kept them off the 3-point line. You didn't allow big scoring runs. You didn't allow one player to really get going until the second half. And then you hit the shot, right? You claw back. You hit the shot to go up one. And they come down the floor and they just get a wide open step in three to retake the lead.
Yeah. I mean, Cincy toughness kind of is working on a point that I also feel is that we made so much about, there was a lot of made about Mick and how his style was, and that guys were always looking over at the sideline, worried about getting pulled out of the game. He's stomping his foot every possession to call a play. There was no flow in that sense, a micromanagement of the game to the umpteenth degree. Okay, we've gone, in my opinion, the total opposite direction.
Yeah,
in that Baba Miller can commit 7 turnovers in a game, and it's like it's no big deal.
In a half.
He
was rusty, Dave. He was rusty.
Yeah, okay. We can be a supposed good defensive team and just let a team that I viewed watching the game as like a glorified rec league team do whatever the hell they wanted.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not asking to go back to the way Mick did it, but, like, can we get something kind of in the middle? Like, I would love for Wes to just unload on a dude on the bench. Like, absolutely unload on him because he turned the ball over 3 possessions in a row or got beat for baskets 3 possessions. Like, whatever the situation is, like, we can't do that. We're not able to do that anymore. Like, I don't need it to be the one way, but I don't also want it the way that it is now.
Yeah, this isn't working. It's not. The thing is, Dave, I think we call it toughness. I think even more so, the more and more I'm watching this year play out, it's edge. There's no edge to anybody.
We got guys on this team now that played with edge at their previous schools. Why is that different now?
Well, like I think Buck Harris plays with edge, but that's supposed to be contagious. That's supposed to be something that rubs up. Like, that guy comes in, plays with an edge, and everybody picks up on it, and now your team's playing with an edge, right?
Yeah, like in the old, like, and I hate reverting backwards because the sports are totally different. But like you mentioned, it's supposed to rub off. If dudes didn't play with edge for Bob or Mick, the players policed it and told those guys, this guy can't hang with us. He does not play the way we play.
Yeah.
It wasn't the coaches doing it. It was the players doing it. Or that guy who maybe didn't have that personality realized, if I want to play, if I want to be involved, I need to pick up that component of who I am.
But here's the difference, right? Here's the difference. Those teams had 9, 10 guys that played with edge, and you might have had 1 or 2 guys that didn't, that you were
it's a lot easier to pull one guy in to a group of 9 than to pull 9 guys into a group of 2.
Right. And that's where it feels like we're at, right? Like there are a couple guys that play with an edge to their game.
Here's the problem.
But it doesn't.
That thing wasn't a secret from the coach after last year.
Right.
It wasn't like it was just me and you saying that they didn't play with enough toughness and they needed to get some more shit to them.
Yeah.
And yet,
Cincy toughness, I hate this comparison because nobody on UC did what Brandon Garrison did the other night. He says, not comparing Kentucky or Mark Pope to us, but did you see the clip of Pope telling Brandon Garrison to go sit on the bench?
What did Brandon Garrison do?
Either he turned it over, he did something, he turned it over, and then just stood there. Like as the play went on down the floor.
Right, like just a total lack of effort after moping and No, I'm not saying like I'm not questioning effort.
At times I am.
Well, you're following it a lot tighter than I am currently.
Well, in the bye games, there have been stretches, especially early, where they just have not been full on effort. But there hasn't been anything.
You mean like giving up a 17-0 run to Eastern Michigan?
Yeah.
And nobody got reamed. Nobody got told to go, to the locker room for God's sake. Like you give up
that guy's room.
You give up a 17-0 run to a bad MAC team, and it was just shit happens. It's November.
Yeah.
We'll get better.
Yeah. No, but that's what happened. 101 is Garrison literally just gave up on a play. Made a bad play and then didn't even like jog down.
Dudes make mistakes. Like we're not saying that these guys are infallible, but I get annoyed when mistakes are allowed to be made. And here's my kind of last point of the things that I've been thinking about. The last 2 years, we've seen a lot of similar things to this point. So typically things are either being coached or not being coached, or players are just not doing what they're being asked to do. I have a very hard time or both. Could be or both. But I have I'm going to give the players a little bit of the benefit of the doubt and say that I have a hard time believing 2 totally different rosters have both just decided to not do things that they're being told to do.
Yeah.
Like they're not doubling the post. They're not doing things on offense. They're just saying, fuck you. 2 different teams, 20-something different dudes. They're all just saying, nope, we're not doing what the coach is telling us to do. That is hard for me to believe. So I'm going to go to the other side and say they're not being asked to do these things.
Yeah. And now you've got Georgia coming up Saturday, 2:00 in Atlanta. Georgia has a 79% chance to win. The predicted outcome on KenPom is 81-72 Georgia. Georgia's 21st in the country in KenPom on offense. They are 45th in KenPom on defense. They have the 5th fastest tempo in the country. So this game is probably going to get up and down. The only thing, like if you look at like the key factors, effective field goal percentage, turnover percentage, offensive rebound percentage, and free throw attempts to field goal attempts, Georgia is in the top 100. Georgia is in the top 50 offense and defense in all 4 of those categories, except they're 96th in free throw attempt to field goal attempt. So they don't get to the line a ton.
Neither does UC.
Right? And they're not a great defensive rebounding team. But Cincinnati's not a great offensive rebounding team. So
They're just gonna run and out and just run up and down on them.
Yeah, Georgia's 46th in effective field goal percentage. They shoot 56.2% their effective field goal percentage, 2s, 3s, free throws. They're 15th defensively in effective field goal percentage. They're 11th in 2-point field goal percentage, which Xavier was one of the worst Power 5 2-point defenses in the country, and Cincinnati couldn't score anywhere around the rim in that game. Georgia's 11th, and then Georgia's 92nd defensively in 3-point field goal percentage. So they run you off the line, and they play great 2-point defense against a team that is dreadful on offense right now.
I mean, what are they just in the offensive metric? Just the plain old offensive rating on Ken Palm right now.
Cincinnati?
Yeah.
218.
I mean, it's hard to quantify. When you're a Big 12 team with the supposed budget that they had to go get players this year. I mean, they got Baba Miller at the end when everybody thought they were out of money.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to have a recalculation of the rev share splits.
Yeah. I mean, right now, Ken Palm's only projecting Cincinnati to win 6 Big 12 games, all of them at home. Not a single Big 12 road win being projected.
6 seems generous.
Yeah.
6 seems generous. No infighting in the chat. Chill out. We're all varying levels of angry, but we don't need to fight about it.
Relax, guys. Relax. Everybody. I
mean, it's we're a year ahead of what football is right now. From a timeline standpoint, but like 2 years, well, that makes it even worse. And we always knew it was good. You and I have talked about this. Everybody's talked about this. The Big 12 basketball is awesome.
A monster. It's a monster.
It's a monster. And we always, you knew it was going to be a fight, but you felt like the roster had come together in a more understandable and cohesive way that just made a lot more sense than last year's roster.
I still think that. I don't think this roster is poorly constructed.
Well,
I think it lacks what we talked about since it was constructed. It lacks that
go get a bucket ball, go get a bucket guard. Right.
Yeah. Wes hasn't had one since he's been here.
And here's the even bigger problem with that. Is that if you wanted to tell me that I don't need that because we are excellent tacticians and we have all these plays to get whoever I need to get open based on matchups, then you could sell me on that.
But that's not who they are.
But that's not who they are either.
They desperately need a 2-guard that you can hand the ball to and say, go get me a bucket.
Because they don't.
For 5 years now.
I don't know if they run plays.
And they do. They don't run them.
They don't seem to work. And it feels like the other teams have a pretty damn good idea of what they're about to do.
There's not a lot of innovation in the plays that they run. How's that? Like, I was pointing that out. Let's see. It's Tarleton State. I was like, they know every action. They are on top of every action when Cincinnati's run a man-to-man offense. They knew this guy's going here, get on top of the ball there, go under the screen here. Look for this baseline runner action. Like, you could tell. And Billy Gillespie's a good basketball coach. He's got He's got his own problems, but as a basketball coach, but that guy had you scouted to a T. If he can do it, a lot of people can do it.
Well, yeah, if he can do it, and then other people can do it with players that are as good or better than your players.
Yeah. I don't have a great vibe for Saturday afternoon, Dave. Maybe they surprise us. Maybe they get a week of practice. They've had a week of practice, so maybe they had some time.
Maybe they've been able to finally install some double teams.
Yeah,
they'll probably need to do that against Santos Sorel. I mean, I can't imagine they're going to just go 1v1 cover action with him.
He's not your problem. He's good. He's not your problem.
He's the only player on Georgia that I know. So,
Jeremiah Wilkinson's really good. Cannon Catchings is really good. They've got some dudes. Blue Kane has had a really good year so far.
Kane plays for Georgia?
Blue Kane.
Oh, okay.
So they've got some guys that are playing well.
Define interesting Cincy toughness.
Yeah. I don't have a great feeling about it. I don't have a great feeling about it.
No, I don't know why you would.
Maybe they'll surprise us. Because if you lose Georgia and you lose Clemson, who Clemson just took BYU all the way to the buzzer.
I mean, they
night.
would have destroyed them, if not for the number
AJ
one
Devanza
and number two pick in the draft next year.
Yeah. If you don't win these two, you're 8-5 going into the toughest conference in the country.
And the best part about all that is you just get to start conference play with the best team in the conference.
Yeah, just roll it on out. Roll the balls out on January 3rd against Houston. I don't even think I'm coming back. I'm going to Memphis for the Liberty Bowl, and then
gonna stay.
I think. Kelly's sister lives in Nashville.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna go hang out in Nashville on the 3rd. I'll watch the game. But I think I'm going to go do some family time.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't be hurrying back for that.
Right. Keegan's hurrying back.
Keegan is lower on the totem pole than you, so
I've done those things.
Does that mean I'm doing the show with Keegan?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
He probably likes that. Probably likes to get a break from me every now and again.
We might yell less.
Keegan's not much of a yeller.
Can't see it.
What's the tougher game, Clemson or Georgia?
I think
yes.
Georgia.
Georgia,
because I think UC, from just watching Clemson last night, I think they're good, but I think UC has a decided athletic advantage.
Georgia has a decided basketball IQ advantage.
Yeah, and Georgia probably has an athletic and basketball IQ advantage.
Yeah. I mean, both are unlikely. One's 24 in Ken Palm, one's 25 in Ken Palm. Right now, Cincinnati is 75. They are 50 spots below these two teams in Ken Palm.
And that puts them out third to the bottom in the Big 12, fourth to the bottom in the Big 12, something like that?
Third to the bottom. They are above. They are 75. Kansas State is 80, and Utah is 122.
Utah is. My brother lives out there. They have general admission tickets for the entire arena for $12, and they absolutely stink. A whole nother level of stinking. So you should probably not lose to them.
And they're here. So, yeah. win one of these games, guys, just to save my sanity of boy, it has not been a fun November into December. The end of 2025, not great, Bob. Not great, Bob.
No. It hasn't been awesome.
You got anything else you want to talk about?
Not really.
Me either. It's not a good listen for your mental health. Drew, what the hell do you think our mental health is like? We have to do this. Like, you guys do it as a hobby.
You don't have to listen. We have to do the show.
We have to do the show. Have to do the show. We have to be on top of this at all times. So if you think it's bad for your mental health, I mean, the only thing good that happened last weekend was that the Crosstown Shootout was on Friday and football was over. So I had a Saturday and Sunday finally to just disconnect, to just not worry about it. I didn't have to, like, Sunday morning, I didn't have to get the brunch uploaded into the podcast format and do all that. Like, you know, my goodness. All right. That's going to do it. Dave, well done as always.
Oh, yeah.
My job is affected by winning and losing. You're right. You're right. That's the BCJ podcast. We'll see you right back here next Thursday, I guess, Dave. There's a basketball game Wednesday.
All right.
So we'll be back next Thursday. We'll see you next time. It's brought to you by the Holy Grail on the Believe Podcast Network right here on BearcatJournal.com.